Welcome to another edition of Dolphin Origin Stories, where we meet up and chat with students, faculty, staff members, alumni, and so much more to discuss how they became a Dolphin. I'm your host, Nick Durst, and I'm joined today by a current student who's also an alumni, Emily Albano. Emily, welcome in to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor.
It certainly is to be on one of these early episodes. So Emily, you recently just graduated. Congratulations, but no stopping, right back into it with grad school. Is that right?
Yes, I graduated this past fall while dual enrolled in the master's program here at CSI. I'm currently now obtaining my Master's of Science in Strategic Management.
All right, very nice. So we'll talk more about that, but let's rewind the clock here. Let's go back to high school for you, okay? So talk to us as a Staten Island native. How was the process to apply to College of Staten Island, and how did you decide to come here, and what activities and sports that you did in high school played a factor in that?
So coming out of high school into college, it was COVID. A lot of people don't talk about my COVID year because schools reopened, but the public schools in New York didn't. So we were completely online my senior year of high school. So I lost half of my junior and my entire senior year. So when looking for college and stuff, it was very difficult because the world was just opening back up. Mm-hmm. Nobody was really doing any campus tours. It was really difficult to kind of find what fit for you, doing it all through the phone, calling coaches, emailing coaches. It's great, but not everybody is.
And that was because you played soccer, right?
Yes. So trying to get recruited was incredibly difficult. And for me, I knew that when I was going to college that I wanted to play. There was no, there's not going to be soccer after that. I knew the second I went out of high school that I'm going to play collegiately. So deciding was very, very difficult because it was so hard to make connections in that way, because as an athlete, it's so important to have a good connection with the school, the team, the coaches. So when it came to CSI has always been a second home for me, and getting recruited here was like a dream come true. And they're like, we'd love to offer you a spot. We have one saved for you the second you say yes. And I was like, oh, how could I not? And I committed as early as December, which is really early for most people who don't know athletics. Yeah. But the second CSI opened its doors to me, I jumped on it right away.
Okay, so you come here to College of Staten Island. You mentioned it was a second home to you. Why was it a second home?
So CSI has always had the facilities that Staten Island lacks. It's indoor facilities, it's turf facilities. So growing up in training, there aren't many public sites. So my teams would always rent out CSI to come train here. We trained on their turf fields, we trained inside of their gyms. I've been in their locker rooms at like early as age as like 10 years old. So coming to CSI is someplace I've always known. I kind of knew the athletics building like the back of my hand before I even got here.
Oh, okay, very fancy. So soccer, right? You come here in a crazy time and you get your freshman and your sophomore. The coaching overturn was wild during your early days here. So how is it adjusting to collegiate soccer?
The adjustment's huge. You don't realize how much time and energy it takes to be a collegiate athlete. In high school, I trained 5 days a week. After school, I trained at my travel teams, but nothing compares to waking up 6 a.m. and coming to CSI. When I was first recruited by Jackie Bruno, who ended up not even making it to the first day of preseason. We got a new coach, Brendan Guzman, on my first day of my freshman year. He was here with us for about a year and a half until he moved on from CSI, and now we have Coach Alex Mendolia, and he's absolutely fantastic, and I'm so grateful to have had him in a part of my soccer career. But it's a very big adjustment, and with those constant changes, it really tests how much you love the sport. Right. Because it's so easy to walk away in those moments when things get difficult, and especially when there's not a consistency in that role. A lot of athletes struggle with that, and I was just so lucky to have stuck it out because the ending was just so beautiful.
So you ended this fall season. You are going to play in the spring season, but that's not really too serious. So talk to us about the difficulties in closing that chapter of your life of being an athlete.
So I always imagined my senior day the second I got here, because I remember planning it for our senior at the time, Rosada. She was the only senior, so it was great to just curate a day completely to her. And I go, wow, I can't wait to have my own. I just know it's going to be filled with so much love and family and friends. So then when this time came around, I treated every game with so much love. It's so easy to get frustrated. It's so easy to oh, I don't want to wake up this morning. It's so early. Maybe I just sleep in a little bit longer. But I found a new love and gratefulness for being an athlete. And every day going to practice, every game that I was a part of was so important to me to take in and just be thankful that I had it. So as the season went on, wins and losses didn't really matter to me as long as I was just enjoying the moment, because I knew I wouldn't get it back. And then by the time my season finally ended, I was surrounded with family and friends, people who traveled to come see me play that hadn't been able to see me play in person my entire career were able to be there on that night to close my athletic career.
Awesome. So you are the true definition of a student athlete. You're a scholar. You had a great GPA. You graduated with honors. You were an honors student. So talk to us about how you ended up in Verrazano Honors.
So when I was deciding that I was going to come to CSI, I was like, well, what else can I do? You can't just be a student, you can't just be an athlete. There's got to be more to it. And I was a scholar student at Susan E. Wagner. I was like, oh, I got to look into the honors programs here. And I saw the Verrazano Honors Program. And I read up on it, and it just seemed like the perfect curated experience. It's not very often that you get a great ratio to your counselor and just have somebody that knows you. I can call that office any time of day, and they'll know exactly who I am and ask me and have a personal connection to me. So being a Verrazano student here was really important to me to be a part of something like that, to just have that extra help in my academics. And they are just absolutely incredible people. They really are. Cynthia and Cheryl are just two beautiful souls that are so great, and I wish I could take them with me to grad school.
So talk to me about the opportunities that Verrazano Honors created for you. You did some great internships. You recently did a great business trip that you got to get some experience for. So tell everybody about that.
So Verrazano, one of the greatest things that they have you do, which people think is so silly because it's mandatory, is something called a vela. It's an experience that you do either within the college or right outside of the college that of course is regulated by Cynthia and Cheryl, but it kind of forces you to get out of your comfort zone, experience something in a different light. So one of those velas that they had sent me to was a career fair at the Ferry Hawk Stadium. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring my resume. I'm just getting my vela done. I'm not trying to get a job out of this. And I ended up making a really incredible connection with a man named Neil Malvone. He's a professor at Caldwell University. He hosts something called the Dream Bowl every January during MLK, like that weekend. And it is like a college all-star camp, NFL prospect camp, where Division 1, 2, and 3 athletes all over the country have a chance to compete in front of NFL scouts. And it was one of the most incredible things I've ever been a part of. I worked nonstop for about 5 days while down in Texas. We were in a little place called Little Elm, right outside of Dallas. And we worked from like 6:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night, helping these athletes, getting them to camp and getting them to practice, meeting with scouts, making sure that everything was just well organized. I took a lot of the facilities side of that job, but it was just so cool to meet scouts from the Dallas Cowboys, the Chargers, big time people, and they're talking to me, and I'm just thinking, wow, I'm just a college student. This is so incredible. But it all came from Cheryl and Cynthia saying, you need to get a vela done. And I was like, oh, why not? And it all came, I got that vela in May, and I just got back this past month.
So how did you go about initially picking your major, and then what you were going to do for your master's, and how does that align with your career goals moving forward?
So when I first got to CSI, I wanted to be a computer science major, and I was in there for about a year, and it just didn't stick. I wasn't very happy with it, and it wasn't the way the education was given. It was just, I couldn't see myself doing that job. It's a great career. I know it makes so much money, but it just didn't align with my morals and values. So I went to Cheryl and I was like, I need to switch. She told me there's no shame in switching. Everybody changes their major, and I was so nervous that I was gonna fall behind. She was like, give business a try. Give it a try. There's so many ways you can go about it. The great thing about the business school here is it has so many different concentrations. So I went into it, and then I was getting to a point where I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with this. And I went back to Cheryl, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do anymore. I'm so lost. And she was like, well, what do you like? And I was like, I like sports. I like being an athlete. I like playing soccer. She was, well, why don't you stay in sports? And I was like, well, you can't be an athlete forever. And she was like, yeah, but you can work in sports forever. And it kind of led me into this track of, I went into business management to work in the sports side. Not necessarily as a coach, but more in like game day operations and facilities. And from there, I got a degree in business management, minors in marketing and finance, because I was like, make sure I try everything while I'm here. And then I was so lucky to graduate early. I was like, well, why not continue my education? Why not get the master's degree and put myself a little level ahead of my competition in the job field?
Right. So what's your favorite building on campus?
My favorite building is 1R. That's the athletics building. I am there so much. I would say 24/7.
So now you're working in there, right? You're interning, now you're working there. So talk to everybody about that and how that works with your career goals.
Yeah, so last year I started an internship within 1R for social media marketing, kind of just amplifying our experience online, making sure that the athletes are put out there properly, because people don't realize when your school posts you, when you're shown on their athletics page, when you're highlighted as player of the week, it's a big deal to those companies. They're looking at you and saying, wow, this person's a hard worker, this person has goals. So we wanted to make sure that we were helping our student athletes in that sense. And then with that came along, well, why don't we do more? How can we make game day experiences better? And we started hosting youth teams and church teams from all over Staten Island to come and be a part of our basketball experience. And it was so incredible. And it started off as this non-paid internship, something I just wanted to do to make my experience, everybody's experience around me better. And it blossomed into this whole thing where when the role opens up to kind of have more of a hands-on role in athletics, they said, you're the first person we look to because you're here all the time, you know exactly what we want. And now I'm working in athletics and it's just incredible.
It's awesome, great accomplishment. And you're also involved in planning a lot of events as far as the student athletes is concerned. So talk to us about your role with that.
So part of the athletics program, I'm part of SAAC, which is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I'm the president this year, which is such an incredible honor to be leading all these teams. We just take care of what goes on in our community. We're trying to make sure that the athletes have a good experience and that what we produce also benefits other people, because it's really important for us to stay well-rounded. CSI is a commuter college. We have a lot of families come in. A lot of people you'll have in classes are adults with kids or people coming back to get their education because they couldn't the first time around. Retired military. It's truly beautiful to see all these people come back, and we want to make sure that we give back to that community as well. So SAAC heads on a lot of toy drives, coat drives, canned goods to just kind of be back involved in our community. We volunteered at the New York City Marathon this past year, giving out water at 6 a.m.
It's a long, cold day.
Yes, it was a very busy day, but we make sure that we're just, giving back in a sense to our community.
Excellent. All right, Emily, well, we want to wish you the best of luck moving forward here. And for anybody who's out there who's watching this, either a high school senior, maybe with some of your younger family members, or somebody looking to transfer, tell them why the College of Staten Island is the place for them.
The College of Staten Island is the best place to get your education because it's just so well-rounded. You can be involved in so many different elements and have the opportunity to be a part of all of them, from being a student athlete to being just a regular student. There's so many clubs, activities that go on campus. There's just something for everybody here, and it's so easy to find what you're meant to do. Nobody knows what they want to do when they're going into college. Don't let anybody tell you that you need to have it all figured out when you're a junior in high school, senior in high school. It's not realistic. CSI gives you the opportunity to kind of test out the waters and experience everything and make that true right decision for you.
All right, well, Emily, we know the Dolphin blue runs through you. You have the Dolphins shirt on. We appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Best of luck moving forward here. And that's going to do it here for this episode of Dolphin Origin Stories for our special guest, Emily Albano. I'm Nick Durst. Thank you for watching.